It's time for the main event. It's the Tszyu Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? It's your boy Dave from the Tszyu Shine, now living in the 702 Sin City. Joining me all the way for another Monday night edition of the Tszyu Shine, all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish Cry Eagles, Drew Evo. ¿Qué pasa? What's up, homie?
What's up?
I think we were both crying this fucking Sunday, right? Excuse my language already in the show, but excuse my language. I was definitely upset this Sunday afternoon, Drew. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want nobody to call me. How do I lose this game at the very end by a rookie field goal? How did he miss that one? How did we miss all these opportunities? How did we get McCaffrey, our star, injured? How did we get Deebo Samuel injured? How did Purdy do so damn poor? You can't stay undefeated forever. And you know what? The only solace I have, Drew, is that you guys lost to.
Day before my birthday.
That's right. By the way, happy birthday to Drew Evo, everybody. If you didn't get a chance, and you're just coming on now and you're just seeing that we're live, my homeboy Drew had a birthday, and I had my birthday midweek, and I want to thank everybody that reached out to me on social media and wished me a happy birthday. I do truly appreciate that. It was a rough week, health-wise for me, Drew. A lot of you guys don't know. I know we started kind of late today, but I told Drew, and I don't want to say too much about these boosters out there, because if you say enough about the boosters, I hear that YouTube will strike you or whatnot. But, you know, I took confidence that nothing would happen, and I got this booster. And last Monday, you guys heard my voice kind of just disappear and start to sound kind of rotten. And lo and behold, I've been sick all week. And yeah, I saw a lot of my good friends this past weekend on Friday. I was loaded with cough medicine. I really hope and apologize now if anybody gets sick. I know there was a shitload of people sick. I've been doing the best to hide this hacking cough, and I just have a gut feeling I had to do something with that. I was completely healthy before all these flu shots and whatnot, and next thing I know, I've got a hacking cough. I'm doing my best, guys, so hang in there with me. I'll let Drew do most of the talking. It was a really wild weekend for me here in Las Vegas. It was a wild weekend for sports. Saturday, let's talk about the Tszyu Shine. Let's do the Tszyu Shine, Drew. Saturday, YouTube boxing. Oh, you want to get the Phillies off you? Yeah, congratulations, you guys are.
Phillies won on my birthday. At least the Phillies won on my birthday.
Shout out to the Phillies that are in the National League playoffs. Always exciting to have your team in Oakland. October baseball is the best, man. Especially when your team is involved. So what are the likelihood of your team advancing?
Very good, because we're the heavily favorite team to win. Tell you the truth, we're heavily favored to win this series. Might be favored to win the World Series too.
Nice. Shout out to everybody just joining us. I saw Packable drop a comment earlier. It was great seeing you this weekend, homie. I know you're still here in Las Vegas. Joy Boyce NFT, thank you for joining us. It was a very, very, very interesting weekend in sports, especially in the world of boxing, as YouTube boxing is showing signs of going nowhere. And I call it YouTube boxing, but let's be honest what it is. It's almost like celebrity boxing at this point. And there was some intriguing matchups going into this Misfits boxing card. One, for instance, is the fact that we had Dylan Dennis, an MMA star, against Logan Paul. And there was a lot of hype because that fight had tons of social media clicks leading up to this event, Drew. Even us as hardcore boxing fans could not get away from the fact that Friday, the guy Danis threw a freaking bottle at him or a microphone and cut him on the head. I mean, nearly jeopardizing his entire purse, his entire payday, all the months of sacrifice by being an idiot and doing something so stupid, almost jeopardizes the entire card for himself. There were some other notable fights. I really like this guy, Salt Papi. I don't know if you've followed the Filipino YouTube star from England. I've been enjoying him, Drew, but the guy went from being Salt Papi, the chubby, cruiserweight, whatever the hell he is, hard-hitting left southpaw, big fan of Manny Pacquiao, to being a middleweight. 160 pounds, comes in to fight a guy named Slim from Brooklyn, and for the first time ever gets knocked out. Drew, there was no power behind his punches. Did you see that guy? Did you catch that, Salt Papi?
Yeah, man. I tell you the truth, the whole fucking Misfits boxing shit is a fucking disgrace to boxing. Not like I can go to fuck off on it, and I can fucking say why it's a disgrace to boxing, and people might like it, but tell you the truth, man, it's a slap in the sport's face. It's a slap to everybody that got killed doing it. Face. It's a slap to everybody that was paralyzed because of this sport.
Yeah.
And is no longer to have normal lives anymore and everything. This is a fucking disgrace and a slap to their faces. So, I speak I speak my piece against this shit. This is a fucking disgrace. And the promoters, Sterling, is a fucking disgrace for fucking, and should be really apologizing to his real fighters on his stable for fucking promoting this shit.
I think I counted like 20 F-bombs by Drew in the first minute of the show. Drew, I like this guy, Salt Papi. I've been enjoying this southpaw mainly because, he was a fat kid. He was a fat YouTuber. And all of a sudden, and he had heavy hands, and he was throwing straight left hands and knocking out everybody. But somehow they were saying that he goes on this weight loss journey as a YouTuber, right? Okay, now he's starting to fight, and he's taking it dead serious. He weighs well over 200 pounds. And somehow he wants to go all the way to 160 and give him an opportunity to fight for a middleweight, the middleweight Misfits belt, whatever that's worth or whatnot. And he looked fit. It's not the same guy. And he definitely didn't have the same pop that I've seen in his earlier performances. Drew, he had nothing on his punches. And while he was dominating the beginning of that fight, they said the other guy had, I think, 7 wins, 6 KOs. I'm like, well, this guy, he's long and lanky, but he's definitely not catching that guy Salt Papi at the end of his punches. But 3 rounds into this fight, Salt Papi's gas tank was gone. And I think it's because, let's be honest, he's never been that thin, or he hasn't been that thin in years. And this is what happens in the real sport of boxing when fighters, when they trim down too much weight artificially and unnaturally. When you dive some 40 pounds and take that off your body in such a short amount of time, you don't acclimate to what your body is gone through, Drew. He had nothing on his punches, man. He got flattened out exactly as our boy Ryan says. He got flattened out. That was a pretty impressive knockout by the guy Slim from Brooklyn. All these guys are YouTube stars, Drew. I mean, wouldn't we aspire to be big stars like them? And to Papi's credit, apparently he already had 1 million subscribers, which is what you need to qualify to be on a Misfits card. You need to have at least 1 million subscribers across all the social media platforms. And he went up to 6 million as he started showing everybody his weight loss journey. So he gained 5 million subscribers from being on this Misfits boxing, 6-7 pro fights. And then now losing all that weight, he said people like him. He's popular, but maybe that's it for him. Maybe Salt Papi needs to go back to being chubby Papi a little bit. Move up to light heavyweight or stay where he was at cruiserweight, because he was completely ineffective and had no gas tank. There's another guy. There's other guys on the card that are okay. The one before that guy, I can't even remember his name, but I know that he was an amateur boxer becoming a YouTube star, and he's undefeated too. If you guys want to drop his name in the chat, I enjoy watching that guy, whoever his name is. I forget what he is. Let's see. But let's get on to that co-main, dude, because the co-main, you got a WWE star in Logan Paul. Logan Paul kicked it all off against KSI when all of this first went down 3-4 years ago. We just touched on it. The Shoe Shine had just started podcasting. And you got him fighting Dylan Dennis, an MMA star, Drew. Did you anticipate it being this bad of a fight? I think I did.
I thought it was going to be a bad fight. I thought this whole card was going to be bad, and I was right. I thought the whole card was bad. Like really, man. Like, it looked like that dude was trying anything to get the fuck out of the fight and everything, man. Like, that's what Pink Logan was right about. Dude was trying to desperately get out of the fight and everything. And, like, out of nowhere, it ends in a fucking melee and everything because dude tried to do an MMA takedown and everything. Like, I don't know. It really, this is inexcusable. And, like, and hopefully after this, hopefully we don't see another fucking Misfits boxing event.
Well, hopefully I'll never have to see Dylan Dennis enter the ring ever again, because this guy gets the award for talking the gang load of shit in the sport of boxing this year and failing to do much of anything. I guess he attempted to do a guillotine. I remember I saw that. I remember he went to the floor, which is typical of jiu-jitsu, and then tried to take him down and try to kick him at the end, which actually, I thought the fight was over, and it turns out it was a disqualification. It was, as much of a circus as you say, Drew, it was an abomination to the sport of boxing, how bad it got. And then, of course, you had a melee in the ring where I guess Dylan Dennis attempted to throw a punch at one of the security guards. But for the most part, it was, if you didn't see it and you go back, you can go on YouTube, obviously, and watch the zone highlights. But it was pretty much just this guy Dennis covering up, trying to make it to the distance. Thanks a lot, Tony Boswell. Shout out to my homeboy. Yeah, we're just starting the show talking about this garbage event, Misfits. It included a real boxer. Let's talk about Tommy Fury. All right. As for Logan Paul, we all know he's got a very successful podcast career. The podcast is one of the top in the country. He's got the WWE. He doesn't need the boxing. He definitely doesn't need to box guys like this that insulted his future wife and all that. But let's talk about Tommy Fury, because he comes from a real boxing family, a lineage that's, his big brother is the lineal heavyweight champion. His father was a bare knuckles traveling champion and whatnot. Did he just embarrass the crap out of himself, man? He can't really even, to be honest, he barely eked out that victory. And some would say with that, those rabbit punches that were really, those were kind of shitty to watch from a professional boxer. Those looked pretty intentional, Drew. I found it hard to watch not only this horrible fight, because it wasn't a clean fight, but those rabbit punches, it was questionable if this thing was even a draw. What say you?
Oh, man. Dave, right? You like this, Drew. You just need to watch the fight. And I'm like, you're going to put me through this on my birthday weekend. Make me watch this fucking fight and everything. I had to drink myself to watch this fight and be somewhat semi-drunk to watch this fucking fight, to watch this whole fucking card, let's just say. Like, I'll be honest, I thought Tommy Fury won the fight. I thought KSI won the first 2 rounds. I gave it that KSI first 2 rounds. Okay. But I give the last 4 rounds to Tommy Fury, man. Like, I'll be honest with you, man. Tommy Fury has no business being a professional boxer because of the showings that this dude did with Jake Paul and now KSI. Dude has no business being a professional boxer.
But you mentioned Jake Paul. He got dropped by Jake Paul. He gets dropped by Jake Paul. And what I'm trying to understand is how this was a main event and it was merely, 6 rounds?
6 fucking rounds.
Tommy Fury should not be going 6 rounds. There is a whole slew now of cruiserweights just entering. Last week we talked about Zurdo Ramirez and Joe Smith entering the cruiserweight division. Kind of the weight class they're at, about 195 or whatever, 190 to 195. The full limit is 200. You got solid names like that. You've got stars at the zone like Jai Apatai that's developing out of Australia. You got real cruiserweight champions, Brady's and whatnot. And he comes from a fighting family, and he should be thinking about if the cruiserweight division, you know what? Let me say quick, this shout out to Lugi Boxing and our boy Mario Mungia, who did a show about the Monday Night Shoeshine show. It's not often, Drew. I sent that to you. I'm like, damn, our boys was talking about our show and based the show on that about the cruiserweight division. They said that people in our chat, where's Nando at? He ain't even here tonight. That they said talking about the cruiserweight division is the perfect cure for insomnia.
You know what?
And they based the show off that. Drew, yeah, go ahead, please. Should we talk about the cruiserweight division? Because that's what Tommy Fury is. He's a cruiserweight.
You know what? Lukey, Mario, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Shout out to our boys over there. They did a great job with that. I don't know where Tommy Fury fits in, Drew. There's plenty of celebrities. If he wants to fight celebrities, how about Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who hasn't fought in a long time, but when he did, it was well over that weight limit. You got guys like that. You got real boxers like Zurdo Ramirez, who fights at the Zone. You could fight him. You could fight Joe Smith Jr. You know, these guys are barely entering the cruiserweight division. Why don't you try your luck against those kind of guys? But he could barely do 6 rounds against KSI, who, as they pointed, was just 10 years ago playing video games.
And he's only landed 39 punches in those 6 rounds. And the thing about it is, he's not the only one that's disgracing his family. I see Rahman Jr. is disgracing his father's legacy. The former unified heavyweight champion, was he undisputed? I don't know if he's undisputed.
Yeah.
He was undisputed. The former undisputed heavyweight champion, Hasim Rahman Sr., is disgraced by his own kid participating in a Misfits boxing fight. And no, first of all, the shit he poured for the Jake Paul fight, now participating in a Misfits fight and losing and almost getting knocked the fuck out by a former NFL football player at that.
Right, yeah.
It's like, it's really, like, seriously, man, like, how could someone lower themselves to disgracing their family's legacy and taking part of something like this and everything? Well, how much did they probably only got paid maybe $250K to take the fight. Tommy Fury got paid more, but I'm talking about Hasim Rahman Jr. And I think Tommy Fury probably got paid almost $1 million to fight KSI and everything, if you look at it. But this whole thing, KSI lost this fight. He says, I was robbed. No, you weren't, dude. You wasn't robbed. You lost the fight. And the only thing that you succeeded at showing is Tommy Fury does not belong in a real ring with a professional boxer of a higher rank. So I hope this ends the Misfits boxing, because the main one behind it lost and everything. But if it doesn't, what you gotta do? Knock KSI out to prove a point and everything? Nah, the guy lost already. This should put an end to it and everything.
Listen, why is this important? It's important because whether we like it or not, the true heavyweight, we're talking about, the baby brother Fury over here, but the big brother Fury is fighting Ngannou. It's just right around the corner, whether we like it or not. What potentially could be one of the biggest pay-per-views of this year. It should outdo the numbers that Ryan and Tank Davis did. It should. You don't think it will? He's saying
not
no.
at the price. Not at the price that it's at. It's at $84.99. I'm gonna tell you this right now.
You better stack that Saudi Arabian card.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. It's the only way that this card does any good if the MMA guys fucking pay for this fight and everything. Rent this pay-per-view.
So they're banking on the UFC fans. I
don't see a lot of hardcores buying this based off that and everything. This is at most a $40 pay-per-view. This is a fucking funny. It's funny as hell.
Damn, 70. I'm actually right here, Drew. I'm looking at nyfights.com right now, and it says it's $79.99. That is a hard pill to swallow. $80 to watch this?
And here's the thing. He can knock him out in 30 seconds. And you expect him to carry him through 6 or 7 rounds and expect to watch an $80 fight? This isn't an $80 card. It's a $40 card at most.
Yeah, speaking of, I can remember the 90s, Drew, watching or families paying for pay-per-views to see Mike Tyson fight. Mike Tyson did some extensive work here with Ngannou, But I don't think Mike Tyson was able to teach him much of anything, dude. You just can't teach somebody at this age the skills you need.
Here's the issue. You see him in training, he's on his fucking back catching his blood. This dude don't have a fucking gas tank.
Yeah.
Like seriously, Mike Tyson is putting him through the trenches of training. Yo, you got to go through this shit in order to survive a 12-round fight.
At the end of the day, he's just going to rely on instinct. Ultimately, he's going to rely on whatever worked for him in the UFC in his short reign as champion. He's going to rely on pure basic instinct. And when a guy with no boxing skill like that relies on instinct, Drew, he's going to get countered and knocked out.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The way it's different from MMA than boxing because he like you take down in MMA, you wrestle, you Brazilian jiu-jitsu, guillotine, Camaro, you layman. Boxing, you punching.
Yeah.
You lay on punching, and you can't lean with your elbow on the dude. That's illegal and everything. Like Ngannou was doing, does it when he fought in MMA. This is something that Ngannou is the smaller man by 5 inches. He's probably going to weigh less than Fury, and Fury's going to be able to put his arm down when he goes down the gas tank. I think by round 3, Ngannou's going to be tired, and you're going to expect him to hold him up for another 3 rounds and everything. Nah, this is really, they're going to look at this and everything, and I'm going to tell you how this pay-per-view does. This pay-per-view maybe does $500K, and no, it's going to do $200K in the US.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. In the UK, it's going to sell in the UK. And the funny thing is, the AJ fanboys and fangirls are going to be pissed because they're going to have to acknowledge Tyson Fury for being the new headliner of UK boxing. They're being the cornerstone of UK boxing. AJ doesn't sell anymore. This guy does. And that's going to kill the fanboys and the fangirls. You can go on your channels and say, oh, that flopped, when you know at the end of the day you're fucking lying like you did about the Gillian Wright and Derek Chisora numbers. Thank you very much and kiss my ass, always. But let's get back to this shit because I really be honest with you guys right now, man. Here's the thing. I don't like the fight. I know Dave doesn't like the fight. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm going to watch it just like I watched the Misfits thing. I'm not going to pay for it. I'm going to find a way to watch it. You know, like most hardcore boxing fans are curious. They want to see how Tyson Fury looks. This is the fight that, should he come out unscathed, then we're going to get the perfect unification, undisputed matchup we're all, desiring to see Usyk. So long as he doesn't get hurt, we can expect to see this Usyk fight potentially as soon as the beginning of 2024. I'm excited for that. Now, Ryan says the undercard for Fury looks all right, but it ain't worth $80.
And here's the thing. Here's another thing, and I'm telling people this right now. Fury is took over as the main headliner of the UK. Fury's making $50 million fighting an MMA guy. And he's got Ngannou making $10 million.
Which is more, probably bigger than his UFC paydays.
What's that tell you? What's that tell you, Dave? That Tyson Fury's name is going to draw because he's well known in the United States. Or notice the Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is known for the United States, coming to the Madison Square Garden, trying to have a debut and get knocked the fuck out by fat Mexican Andy Ruiz. I rest my fucking case. Like,
hey, speaking of Andy Ruiz, Drew, I want to give a shout out to David Duenas and G Funky because they interviewed the trainer, I believe, or manager of Zalil Zhang, and I had proposed that Andy Ruiz get his name in there as a potential opponent for Zalil Zhang in China. Because we all heard that Andy Ruiz is looking for a big payday, right? And they said he priced himself out already. And that was quoted in a couple of boxing articles that I read this week. So, just like I was praising, I was so excited. We got quoted on a couple on nyfights.com. They got quoted too because apparently Andy Ruiz has no intention of fighting Zalil Zhang. He's already priced himself out of that. So I don't know where the guy is going. He's pricing himself out of fighting anybody. What's the point?
You know what? First of all, shout out to Dave, our guy. I clearly don't give a fuck about, but it's like this. Andy's always going to price himself out. It's unfortunate that he does this because he thinks like this. I'm a former unified heavyweight champion, but look at it like this, Andy. You didn't even defend that belt. Your first defense, you lost it back to him. You really. It got to your head, the success of being and making the money and everything, and you didn't really act like a champion back then. And then you expect, all right, I understand that you think you deserve at least $10 million to fight Deontay Wilder. I understand that. But the Zalil Zhang and everything, come on now. Andy, come on, Andy. Gotta think.
Yo, that could be a potentially enormous payday for Andy Ruiz. We're talking about staging this fight in Macau, China, which, is the equivalent to Las Vegas and in China. And the pay-per-view numbers, they said over 1 million people are watching Zalil Zhang every time he fights. They don't even know what the ceiling is for that. And that could all be cash. That could all generate some type of income for Andy Ruiz if he's willing to take that chance. We've seen him go to Australia. We saw him fight Joseph Parker and go down under, which was what the big fight of the weekend is. We saw Brian Mendoza from Las Vegas take that giant risk and go down and fight the champion somewhere else. I think, the fact that Zalil Zhang's not even a world champ, hey, why not, Andy Ruiz? Go for it, man. Go for it. But let's get into this top-ranked card. Let's get into some real boxing. This Janibek versus Gualtieri fight was interesting to me, Drew, because first of all, my wife is Italian, and Vincenzo Gualtieri, somehow, an Italian born in Germany, Drew, became the middleweight champion this year, and I didn't even know about it. So I don't even know if you knew about it, that he snatched up a belt from the Brazilian Falcao. The Falcao, I don't know how to pronounce it, I apologize. But Falcao is best known for being the sparring partner of what is it? Diaz, the MMA fighter Diaz, in preparation for the Jake Paul fight.
Nate Diaz, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's best known for. He's best known to be the sparring partner. He helped him prepare for that fight. That guy and Gualtieri went toe to toe for a vacated belt, I guess, and he snatched up the belt. And this is how this guy, shout out to him. He comes over to America. He says, right away, I'm not going to fight. I could stay in Germany. Remember Felix Sturm? Remember his run at middleweight? He could say, hey, I'm going to stay right here in Germany. I'll defend the title against the crappiest opposition, like the guys that have got me here. But he didn't. He said, I'll go to America and fight this Janibek guy that you guys say is the real deal on ESPN. Albeit, he didn't deserve to be in the ring with that guy, True. That was the easiest fight for Janibek. Janibek looked like a monster again. This guy wasn't even willing to exchange. What are your thoughts, guys, on this middleweight division? Janibek now has 2 of the titles on his way potentially. If he can get Jermell Charlo to fight, maybe he can pick up that WBC belt. Adames could be a potential opponent. Tell me who you guys would like to see Janibek fight, because people think he's the boogeyman, but he's had some bad performances, Drew, and I thought Gualtieri would do a lot better than he did. Also on that card was Keyshawn Davis, Drew. And I'll never forget that we did that show with Keyshawn Davis. I still remember that. I'm still waiting to get Keyshawn on our show. And here's the deal with Keyshawn's performance on Saturday night against Nahir Albright. It was way too close for comfort. I see you shaking your head.
He owes me an apology. He owes me an apology.
He owes us at the very least an interview. He owes us at the very least an interview.
No, he owes us a fucking apology. That shit was fucking rigged. I don't give a fuck what you say, Dave.
That was rigged. He said, I would have picked you, but under regular circumstances, I got to go with the
girl.
What
a fucking apology.
Listen, Keyshawn Davis looked uncomfortable to me in this fight, and I'm starting to question whether he beats Frank Martin. Now, Frank Martin at PBC is like, I want that fight. Let's make that fight.
Yeah, I would really think Frank Martin may beat Keyshawn Davis. I really think he could. Like, like he really did feel uncomfortable. This is the most uncomfortable I've seen him against a guy. But you know, as he rises up,
Yeah, and
he
the
may
step up
feel
fights.
even more and everything. But you know, maybe it was an off night or something. You never know.
Yeah,
And
Ryan. Oh, this is great. Ryan brings up Schofield versus Davis, a fight that I think would be extremely competitive. It's one of those fights where you get to really weed out who's a contender and who's a pretender. But today, I listened to everybody's podcast today. While working today, I caught up on everybody's shows, and I'm questioning myself where he fits in at the lightweight division. He's not going to beat Shakur Stevenson. Okay, he's not. He probably can't beat Lomachenko. But I said that he wouldn't beat them, in the next calendar year. Okay, I doubt he'll ever beat Shakur Stevenson at lightweight. But what about other guys like El Camarón Cepeda at the Zone? Could he beat a power puncher, pressure type fighter, Mexican type
yes,
warrior? Can he beat that type? Can he beat Cepeda?
I think he beats Cepeda. I don't think he beats Jermaine Ortiz.
See, Jermaine Ortiz is a slick boxer who could still punch. If he can get down to 135, that's a tough fight. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know where he fits in, even against the very best contenders at lightweight, because the lightweight division is so stacked. So as a silver medalist, as second best in the world, my expectations are really, really high. I think he should be blowing out everybody that goes in front of him. And he hasn't been doing that anymore.
Because here's the thing with him. You would think that, he's a superior boxer and everything, but to me, I think there's a lot of guys better than him. I think like Lomachenko will beat him, Shakur will beat him, Jermaine Ortiz beats him. He beats Cepeda. I'm being honest with you. I think the guys that I mentioned beat Cepeda. I think he beats Isaac Cruz. Tank beats him.
What about Shakur? Exactly. What about Shakur Stevenson? He's not a gold medalist, silver medalist, anything. But obviously, you want to fight somebody like him, or you want to fight even at least Frank Martin, somebody at PBC. So that's a good. They've been building a buzz. Mm-hmm.
That fight with Shakur Stevenson would be a complete mismatch. I think that will be one-sided, and you'll have him fully exposed to what he can do and what he doesn't like to do, and Shakur will make him go places he doesn't want to go, and it could be one-sided. Like I just don't think that it would be a good matchup for Keyshawn to go fight Shakur Stevenson. I think the guys he needs to fight would be Frank Martin. Even though I will pick Frank Martin to win the fight, I think Isaac Cruz and Cepeda. I think these are the guys you need to pursue your fights with, because these are the best guys that you'll have a best chance to beat and everything. I just don't see like him beating a Jermaine Ortiz, Shakur Stevenson, or Lomachenko. It's just not there. And there are things that Keyshawn still has to learn, and still he has to be seasoned still, because the thing is, this is the first time he felt really uncomfortable. Now he had to figure out how to make himself comfortable again and win the fight. Now it's only going to get harder for him. Can't put him backwards. You got to put him forward now, because as he risen in the ranks of the section and bodies, they're gonna get ready to offer him eliminators. And the one thing they don't want to do is reject these eliminators right away. They want him to fight in these eliminators, get him in there, because tell you the truth, it's about that time that you get him ready to contend for a title. Now, only question is, do you hope that some of these guys move up by the time he's ready to contend?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you need to hope that Loma's retired,
likely
that Shakur's moved up
to 140.
that Jermaine's moved up.
Man, Shakur hasn't even won a title yet at 135. It's almost inevitable that
He's about to win a title.
He's about to win a title. It's almost inevitable that he'll probably be at 135 when Shakur takes over the division. But also, Drew, I want to bring this guy up. What about the guy who defeated him in the Olympics? Because Top Rank signed him, Andy Cruz.
You know what? Hey, Andy Cruz, I'm going to be honest. Eddie Hearn was trying to make him his version of Lomachenko.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, he's nowhere near the talent of Lomachenko. I'm sorry, he's not. It's the Cuban style. I love the Cuban style of boxing because it's defensive, but it's slick and it does a lot of basic sweet science of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
But he's too goddamn defensive.
Yeah.
And he does not have the knockout power to make him very exciting to watch. He's more comparable to a Riegerdale than he is to Lomachenko and everything, because he has a burn style. He does not possess the power to knock somebody out, to hurt somebody seriously, and he has to box you to win a fight. He's clearly, if you take this dude in the trenches and test his heart, I don't think he's ready to someone to test his heart yet.
Well, that actually would be a good. Now I've heard Keyshawn, on social media say, "Hey, I want that fight, and I'll show you how different it is in the professionals." I would actually favor Keyshawn. That might be a fight he want to take. At the moment, guys, I see Keyshawn as a fighter with loads of potential. He's absolutely top 10 in the lightweight division, but I find it incredibly hard, and I cannot place him yet as a top 5 contender. They're going to have to be very careful in these next 2 fights, what he picks up in there as a professional, what he learns in there as a professional. And if he can get a big win over somebody like Frank Martin, then we can start talking about him in the conversation of being a top 5 contender, potentially somebody to fight for a belt. But he's definitely going to need to put some big names on his resume, and soon. And I want to see that in the beginning of 2024, potentially. That's how I see it, guys. I appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think about that. But let's move on to the Janibek fight. We touched on it briefly, Drew. Everybody thinks the 160-pound division is trash.
Yeah, it is.
But I think if Janibek can pick up that 3rd belt, not necessarily clean out the division, because it's going to be incredibly hard to get Jermell Charlo to fight him at PBC. If he can get 3 belts, this guy needs to start calling out Canelo Alvarez and say, hey, I've got all these titles at 160. Surely one of the sanctioning bodies will approve me to fight you. Because the way I see it, man, there's so many. I'm seeing all the red flags that Canelo is willing to bring up fighters now from lower weight classes in between the hard fights. Do you know that the next few years for Canelo are going to be very, very tough on his body? He's now approaching mid-30s. He cannot fight David Benavidez type guys in succession, fight after fight after fight. He has to take some of these kind of low-risk fights, fighting guys maybe like he just did, and bringing up the 154 undisputed champion all the way up to 168. Maybe a Janibek type fighter, and they could sell that fight and say, hey, remember what Gennady Golovkin and Canelo did? Remember how we got 3 fights out of that? Janibek could be the next Kazakh fighter to do that with Canelo.
I'm going to be honest with you. And I said this before, and I said this on Maestro's show. If Canelo does not fight the winner of David Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade and fight somebody else, I will consider it a duck.
Would you, if Andre pulls off this humongous upset of the year, do you think that Canelo will finally fight him? A guy he hasn't wanted, he doesn't want to fight the guy. He hates the guy. For whatever reason, Bubu Andrade rubs Canelo the wrong way. Is it his pants? Is it his clothing? Is it the fact that he paints his nails black? I don't know. He doesn't want to fight the guy. You can't force him to defend the title, can you? Will the WBC?
Yes.
Will the WBC force him?
And they have to. Here's the thing. Sunimov has to step up after this fight happens and says, I'm demanding the winner of this. I'm mandating Canelo Alvarez to defend the belts against the winner of that fight will be named the mandatory challenger to Canelo Alvarez. And if it does not, he needs to be stripped of that belt. And I'll tell you the truth now, if he does not fight the winner of this fight next, it's a duck. And I don't care how people are gonna feel about me saying it, because it's a fact and everything. Because now you got a guy you brought up 2 weight classes, you fought him, you dominated him, like I said you would. The dude power wasn't gonna show up with him, like I said, and everything. You got that through. Now you gotta fight the will test. Whoever wins this fight deserves Canelo Alvarez next. And if that fight does not happen, it's a duck. And I don't care what the Canelo fans say about it. Stop making excuses.
Right.
Everybody.
Drew, Ryan says the shit talk between Canelo and Boo Boo would be amazing. I used to think it was amazing when Boo Boo Andrade would follow him to post press conferences and insert himself. I thought that was hilarious on Boo Boo Andrade. I thought that was aggressive. I thought it was an appropriate way to get the attention of Canelo Alvarez. It's always backfired on him, though. And here's my thoughts. First of all, shout out to my boy Fonzie and Carol, who got us amazing seats for this very fight. I'm very excited. Guy, I had to make my choice. Do I go see this Shakur fight on Thursday before F1 Formula 1, which was a nightmare, guys. I told you guys on the shoe shine, it took me 2 hours to get to the Cosmopolitan for this Joe Smith fight. I nearly missed the main event. It was just a complete waste of my time. I ain't messing with it, but I will mess with this David Benavidez fight on November 25th. So shout out to my boy Fonzie for getting us amazing seats. I look forward to seeing this matchup. Drew, I saw the first press conference between these two, Boo Boo Andrade and David Benavidez, and I think they practically hugged. Boo Boo Andrade is just, he's not a mean dude. He's not a mean guy.
Like, I'm going to be honest, Tony, I disagree with you. I think Boo Boo's going to beat Benavidez.
I'm very concerned. Guys, you should be all concerned because David Benavidez just came in the most, with Memo Heredia. You know, Memo Heredia, you guys know who he is, right? Angel Memo Heredia came in the most shredded shape I've ever seen him, just like, 3-4 months ago in Las Vegas, shredded. And he looks like he's well over 200 and some pounds right now. He looks heavy. In fact, I was looking at my stomach I shot some videos this weekend. And I'm like, damn, I let myself get this fat again. Like that's what I think of David Benavidez. He let himself get fat again after just being shredded. Like he had a 6-pack. He was shredded. He hasn't looked this good. And if you've seen the videos, guys, it's fat camp again. It's lose the weight again. How long can he keep going at 168 when he's such a massive guy, when he's the size of Zurdo Ramirez? Yes, he's got youth on his side. But don't be surprised if he doesn't make weight. He's already missed the scale in his professional career. Drew, he could straight up not make weight for this fight against Boo Boo Andrade. It's a possibility. It's something that's happened before. It's going to be a hard camp to get back into shape.
I think you're going to see this be a real difficult fight for David Benavidez. Like, he had problems with Caleb Plant. The only thing that got him through that fight, Caleb did not have the power to hurt him. He didn't have power. Demetrius has a little power to his punches. He's a little slicker than Caleb. And he's a southpaw. This is issues that David never faced before. And David is going to have to be on his P's and Q's because he's more liable to get countered with Demetrius than he was with Caleb. This is why a couple of reasons why I'm picking Demetrius Andrade to beat David Benavidez.
Yeah, we're picking way early. I'm excited about this fight. I really am, guys. I'm going to be selling this fight as a difficult fight to you guys. The people who are casual fans are going to have a hard time accepting that it will be a good event because it's going to really test David Benavidez as a champion, as someone that can beat all types and all styles. And we haven't seen him beat a guy like Boo Boo Andrade yet. To benefit David Benavidez, Bubu Andrade has been really inactive. But at the same time, he hasn't taken a lot of punishment. The inactivity, I don't like that on behalf of Bubu. But, you know, Bubu, he played his cards all wrong at 160 pounds. He couldn't get the big fights. Now he's got the big fight. David's got another big fight. It's the biggest fight of his life because everything hinges on him winning this fight to get that shot at Canelo Alvarez. If he even stumbles making weight, like you said, Drew, you said, what if he ducks? What if he says, I don't want to fight the winner of this fight? David Benavidez struggles to make weight. Maybe he has to make it on a second attempt. Maybe he just can't. Maybe he comes in at 169 and they fight anyways. Now Canelo has an out. Now he has an out. He could say, well, why the hell would I give you the opportunity? You've missed that weight twice professionally now. Why would I give you that opportunity to fight for undisputed when you've already proven that you can't make this weight class? So there's a lot on David Benavidez, a lot of pressure. Not only does he have to make weight, but he has to come in with the right game plan to beat that type of fighter. So that for me makes it extremely intriguing. I'm ready to see this fight.
It's like this. Canelo is not going to be able to avoid the winner of this fight or David Morrell. He's not going to be able to avoid them now. And like, and I'm really, this is the thing that really makes me sick when it comes to boxing fans, when they support certain fighters and everything, they try to make excuses for that fighter.
Excuse me, guys. Oh, sorry, Drew.
And like, to make excuses for that fighter. For their favorite fighter, they make excuses. And they're going to make excuses why he doesn't fight. The winner of this doesn't fight Canelo. They're going to say, oh, but here's the thing. If Benavidez wins this fight, he's beaten Plant and he would have beaten Bubu. If Bubu beats Benavidez, he beat the boogeyman, so-called boogeyman of this division. And you asked these guys to fight each other, and they're doing it. These guys are fighting each other now. And now you have to honor that type of word that you said that you have and fight the winner of this fight. And I don't care. People can make all the excuses that they want. Oh, he doesn't have to take this fight and everything. He already built his legacy. Stop it. Legacy is always ongoing as long as you're active. It's building when you're active as a fighter or active in any sport that you participate in, building your legacy is always active until you say, I'm retired and everything. Now, Canelo is building his legacy still. He is undisputed in super middleweight, but has he clearly cleaned out the super middleweight division? Absolutely not. And now I'm gonna here's my case right here. He don't fight the winner of this fight. He ducked him. And I don't care what anybody says. And if you try to make an excuse for him, you don't give a fuck about legacy. And if you don't give a fuck about legacy, don't fucking talk to me about fucking boxing. Because boxing is about building your legacy and making money, but mainly building your legacy to be a Hall of Famer one day, to be an ATG, whatever the fuck you call it, and everything. And I'm sorry I gotta break it to some of you guys and everything, man. Guys gotta realize if you're gonna make excuses for someone and everything, man, join the fucking casuals over there on the other side of the planet. I don't give a flying fuck about you.
Hey, shout out to D-Style. Appreciate you for coming in here. Make sure y'all are subscribed to D-Style Boxing. Congratulations on the 3-year anniversary of the Roundtable. Looking forward to being back on that great panel. Shout out to the Fight Doctor who had asked, he goes, did anybody hear about Regis Prograis, who's going to be in a huge match with Devin Haney in my hometown of San Francisco, about his car accident? And Ryan responded, yeah, he's actually all good. He posted a story on IG and said his G-Wagon didn't take too much damage. Yo, them G-Wagons are $200,000 tanks for a reason. I'm surprised if it was a rear end. I didn't see the collision, but I'm not surprised at all that he wasn't hurt. And from I think I did see that post. From the sound of it, he didn't suffer any type of injury. So that amazing fight goes on. Sin City Syndicate mentioned that he got tickets on SeatGeek for $100 to see the David Benavidez fight. Guys, that's a spectacular value right there. $100 all in to see a fight in Las Vegas. The caliber of David Benavidez, that's a smoking deal. Not to mention, even for locals like me now, $100 is a steal. But if you're traveling to Las Vegas, typically Thanksgiving weekend is straight up dead, which means it's a fantastic time to get a cheap room. So if you have family Thursday and you can get away Saturday on an airplane Saturday morning or drive up here, take advantage of that. I think it's going to be a great fight. And also, shout out to Sin City Syndicate, who also said, he'll end up fighting Jaime Munguia. Jaime Munguia versus Canelo Alvarez is a great fight. It's a great fight. You cannot argue against that. Two Mexican warriors. It all depends on how Jaime Munguia looks in his next fight. And it's a viable option at some point. A fight I still want to see, depending on how Jaime Munguia looks in his next fight or so. It's a viable option. Who's to say that Boo Andrade doesn't pull off an upset and Canelo tells Al Heyman, you know what? Let's work with DAZN. I want to fight that Mexican guy. You know what? Screw everything I said before. Instead of fighting Boo Andrade, we know what type of fights he produces, guys. They're very difficult. We know how he fought Erislandy Lara, Canelo Alvarez. He might just say, I'd rather fight Jaime Munguia than fight Boo Andrade. That fight stinks. That fight's gonna stink. And everybody the Mexican fan base knows who Jaime Munguia is. That's always a viable option. It really is. So is Janibek. If Janibek can get another belt, I'm telling you, if Janibek gets 3 of the middleweight titles, there's no reason why he can't come up to 168 and beg those sanctioning bodies to make him a viable option for the undisputed super middleweight champion. That's another option. There's ways to get around this. David Benavidez wins, and Drew, you're right on the money. A duck is a duck. David Benavidez wins. You have to fight him Cinco de Mayo in Las Vegas.
I look at it like this. With Janibek. Be honest. You don't know what Janibek you're gonna get, because one fight he looks great, like he did this past Saturday. Then a fight later, he looks like shit. You don't know what Janibek you're gonna fucking get. And that's the issue with Janibek. You don't know what Janibek you're going to get. Because, this guy caused some problems. He was a fucking stud against this guy. And everything. But, you know, man. He's a unified middleweight champion of a shit the fucking division and everything. I'm sorry, but no. I don't want to see a Janibek Canelo fight. Because, tell you the truth, who the fuck this dude fight?
Well, I'm not saying he's earned it. I'm just saying
there's no shit.
He could potentially be a viable option someday. And I think looking at Janibek's size, he's not but 2 years away from being in the super middleweight division. You know, I don't anticipate him being a Gennady Golovkin that stays there and reigns forever. I think he moves up. Every guy wants to chase the big money.
I really look at it like this when it comes to him. I really think he needs to think about other guys that could be money fights for him. That'll be big money fights, because tell you the truth, he's not really on the right network for middleweight boxing and everything, because there's not really a lot of fights for him on there.
But where are the middleweights? It's not like Jermell Charlo's defended his WBC title.
Yeah, but you could also have him fight Carlos Adonis, Lara, Adesanya Lara, another middleweight champion. Danny Garcia, which moved up to 160. He's going to probably move up to fight Lara.
Man, I can't even see. I haven't even seen. Have we seen Danny Garcia fight at 154?
Yeah, against Jose Benavidez Jr.
All right.
But he also got Chris Eubank. He can fight and everything. That's the fights we have to hope he takes and everything. I hope the fights can get made for him and everything. But it's really a shit show division and everything.
Yeah, it is. When you mention Chris Eubank, who's trying to fight, 147-pound Conor Benn still, and they're very close to making that fight a reality this time around. It is kind of a shit show of a division. But what's not a shit show, Drew? Let's move on to this main event because we've almost been on for an hour, and Tim Tszyu deserves a lot of praise in my book because he really has lived up to the hype. At this point, he has lived up to the hype. Defeating a slick boxer and stopping a former champion in Tony Harrison, that's something you ask of a contender. All right, but let's not discount everything Brian Mendoza did to get this opportunity to go from Las Vegas to the land down under, mate. He knocked out Jason Rosario, the former 154-pound champion. He knocks out the towering Inferno, who was really the boogeyman of the 154-pound division. He earned the right to be there, and he gave a valiant performance. His performance, I think, right up until round 6 was very valiant. It was the Brian Mendoza, the focused Brian Mendoza, that said he was going to do everything he could to give Tim Tszyu trouble. But, dude, Tim Tszyu, even flat-footed the way he is, reminds me of Gennady Golovkin in his prime. That hunt you down, get you in the corner type power puncher that he is, pressure fighter. And when he hits you, it's something else, man. Tim Tszyu really has like fight-altering power in his gloves. He really does. Uppercuts, power shots, you name it, Drew. I'm finding it hard to imagine that he doesn't beat our boy Jesus Ramos Jr. now with those power shots. I know that Jesus was able to outbox Tim Tszyu, but that power has gotten to everybody. So why won't it get to Jermell Charlo? He calls out Jermell Charlo, rightfully so. Will Jermell Charlo fight him? Or will Jermell Charlo say, screw that. I want to fight Terrence Bud Crawford for the big money. I won't be mad at that either. I won't be mad at Jermell Charlo if he avoids Tim Tszyu at all costs.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's going to be able to avoid him because Crawford ain't going to entertain that fight now with Jermell because Jermell looks like shit against Canelo. And I said, if he didn't move up to fight Canelo and fucking took the fight with Tim Tszyu, I think he would have stopped. He would have stopped Tim Tszyu. Now I'm not so sure now, but Tim Tszyu doesn't look like a guy that's unbeatable. He's very beatable. Jesus Ramos beats him.
That's interesting you say that because even my wife said she's worried that she doesn't think that that's the right skill set, especially the one that we saw restrained by his father, restrained by his corner in the pay-per-view for Canelo Alvarez, to take it easy, to not expend too much energy, to not, drive the Ferrari as fast as it can. If he's a Ferrari, they put a they put a speed limit on the guy. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm thinking Tim Tszyu wipes everybody out at 154.
I don't think so. I think people are hyping him up a little prematurely, too much and everything.
He's interested in coming to the U.S. A worthy opponent is Castaño.
I'll be honest with you. I think Castaño can beat him, and I think Jesus Ramos beats him. I really think that if Jermell didn't move up, he would have stopped him. I think if Terrence Crawford moves up, he stops him. I really think, to be honest with you, I really think Tim Tszyu has a style that really allowed the best fighters can explore and expose.
Well, Brian Mendoza could definitely box. He was definitely able to box them. And even after being hurt in the 12th round, he had moments where he could still throw back and get his shots in. It's not like Tim Tszyu's got impenetrable defense. He's super flat-footed. All right, these are things that a boxer that can punch with him is going to have success. But I don't know who that is. The fight doctor says, "Hey, I think Xander Zayas maybe in a few more fights could beat Tszyu." I don't know. That's actually a name with the right development. He is a good boxer, and he does carry a good punch. That's what I'm looking for, like the type like Jesus Ramos. I've seen Jesus Ramos in performances before, fight like that. And I've seen Xander Zayas have the potential to be that kind of guy. Castaño, you said beats him, but Castaño is simply a pressure fighter that I don't think hits as hard as Tim. So there's a gunfight that I think Tim Tszyu comes out victorious in that one.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Tim's going to get hit a lot. And tell you, Tim hasn't taken much punishment. Tim's going to get hit a lot, and we don't know if Tim can take a lot of punishment yet. That's going to be why I think Castaño beats him. I think Castaño is going to be punishing him. If Tim's going to hit him, Tim's going to take a couple in return.
But remember, Castaño got stopped by Jermell in the rematch.
And like the thing about, and yeah, but here's the thing. I think until Tim gets hit, takes a lot of hits in a fight, we're not going to see that. But if Tim gets with a pressure fighter that can actually hurt him and hit him a lot, we're going to find out a lot about Tim Tszyu and everything. Like, to be honest, we're going to look at it like this. He beat a Tony Harrison that was out the fucking window. That was out the door.
Yeah, Harrison doesn't carry a big punch anymore. I think, but he was a former champion and a very good boxer. And I was impressed in that fight because he can beat that style. He did take. Here's the deal, Drew. I think he took the best of Brian Mendoza's shots, and Brian Mendoza can absolutely punch. He showed us all that by stopping Jason Rosario. He showed us he could stop the Towering Inferno, but I still don't know. You're gonna have a hard time convincing me who of these contenders, like Xander Zayas or the Jesus Ramos, are ready. I don't think those two kids at the age they are right now are ready for him. I think they need more seasoning. And so therefore, I think if he can't get Jermell in the ring, the best next fight for him is a Castaño type, Drew. One that you're saying you favor him. Hey, let's bring Castaño out the woodworks. Let's bring it to Las Vegas. I saw Tim Tszyu express he's ready to come to the U.S., ready to come to the Las Vegas market. And I've said it on other shows. I said it on the roundtable. I see D-Style here. I think Tim Tszyu is on the verge of becoming a crossover star. With the performance, he's ready to be a crossover star. And how he defends that title, we'll see. He could snatch up some more titles. Maybe Jermell fights Crawford. Crawford beats Jermell. Man, I would love to see Crawford versus Tim Tszyu. I really would. That would be a fun fight. That stylistically, that makes a great fight. And I don't need to see Terrence Bud Crawford fight Canelo Alvarez because there's some fucking great fights for Terrence Crawford at the tail end of his career. Be honest with you,
Dave. Be honest with you, like you say, he's too flat-footed.
He's flat-footed, guys. I'm not going to sing him perfect praises. He's a flat-footed fighter, but we've seen Gennady Golovkin be extremely effective. You know, I know I saw a comment saying that he was a hype job, but Gennady Golovkin in his mid-30s gave Canelo Alvarez probably the best fight of his life, and arguably in many people's eyes beat Canelo Alvarez in their first encounter. There are guys that can fight flat-footed that can still cut off the ring effectively. Canelo Alvarez is been, criticized as being flat-footed.
If you look at it, Dave, Tim Tszyu can be easy to counter. And that, look at it like this. Do I give Jermell a shot to beat Tim Tszyu still, even though coming back down to 154? Yeah, I give him a shot. Do I favor him at that point? No. But if he didn't move up and fight Canelo Alvarez, he knocks out Tim Tszyu. I had him knocking out Tim Tszyu if he didn't move up. But now, it's more of a 50-50 fight because we don't know how he's going to react to the weight coming back down.
Yeah,
and
we don't know.
everything.
It's always
But-
bad. Historically, guys coming back down, Drew,
Yeah,
it
historically
doesn't work
bad.
out. It would not be. I think I've even said this on the roundtable that should Jermell Charlo come back down, that I favor Tim Tszyu. That Jermell Charlo absolutely is going to need to take up a tune. He's going to need to take a tune-up fight just to get his body acclimated to see how it responds back at the lower weight. It may not even pan out. He might lose in a tune-up. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But I'm excited for the, 154 pounds has a lot of bright future stars. It's a very exciting division. One that potentially could have stars like Terrence Crawford. We can have Jermell Charlo come back. Tim Tszyu proved himself. And you've got all these young, early 20s contenders like Xander Zayas and Jesus Ramos, and who just, faced his first loss. It's an exciting division. I'm very excited about it. And I'm excited to keep talking about it, Drew. Your final thoughts on that?
I'll be honest with you, Dave. I think somebody's getting a hard on right now for Tim Tszyu. Somebody's getting hard
Excuse
on
me.
him and everything, man. And tell you the truth, man, good for you, man.
Oh,
Get down, get a hold
Drew,
on
stop
to
it.
Tim
D-Styles
Tszyu,
is going to
man.
call in like he doesn't know. All right, I want to move on. I want to move on to the main event because we
How
started
you
late.
how you know I'm talking about him?
Oh, geez.
So how you know I'm talking about him?
Oh,
That's
man.
the thing. How does anybody know I'm talking about anybody in the chat?
That's true. That's true. That's
See?
very true.
Now, if they want to come in and call in and try to accuse me of it, so this means they're showing how emotional they're going to be for the conversation. So doesn't
Right.
mean I'm talking about anybody in the chat,
Right.
But at the end of the day, man, people are going to say, you got to look at it like this. It was an even fight for 6 rounds, and he won away with the fight. I had an 8-4 for Tim Tszyu, 116, 112, and everything. Mendoza has a fucking hell of a chin.
Yeah,
And I
actually,
look at it like that.
I will put a quick clip here because I honestly don't know. It was a brutal fight to watch. It was very exciting to watch. I honestly don't know how Brian Mendoza does it, man. I literally don't know how he withstood that attack, that brutal assault, those heavy uppercuts, man. Those were brutal. So, man, all the respect to Brian Mendoza, a true warrior to be able to
but you
withstand
know what,
that.
Dave?
Yeah,
I think
they could have
people
stopped that
need-
fight.
I think people are really using the triangle theory when it comes to certain fighters and everything, thinking that they're not going to do that. Oh, he beat that guy. He lost to Erickson Lubin. He's not going to be able to do shit against Tim Tszyu and everything. And what happens? He loses. That was a fucking fluke, and beats. It can be a better fight than what it's supposed to be, and beats him or something. But I really think that the guy. I think until he beats the guy in the division that's the lineal champion, which is Jermell Charlo. It's Jermell Charlo's division and everything. He's got a belt.
He's got to come down and defend them. He's got to come down and
He's
defend
got
those
to
3
defend the
belts.
belt. And if we're going to see it, hopefully we see it.
I'll have
because
mad
it's a
respect for
fight.
Jermell if he takes this Tim Tszyu fight next. I know.
Yeah.
I know he's got
He
options.
beats that guy. He beats. It's a big marquee fight for the division to keep it active. But if Terrence Crawford moves up and fights him, it's an even bigger fight.
Oh, way bigger
and
fight.
everything. But he does not win. He probably beats Jermell now, but he does not beat Bud Crawford. And I tell people this: Bud Crawford doesn't lose in his career. He will retire.
He probably won't. He probably won't. It would be best, to wrap up my thoughts for Tim Tszyu. He could just lay back, man. He literally could just lay back. He could take a tough fight, but one fight that I heavily favor him against somebody like Castano or against one of these younger contenders if they think they're ready. He could just lay back. He doesn't need to rush the Jermell Charlo fight because ultimately, if he gets to fight the winner of Jermell Charlo and say Terrence Bud Crawford, if that's even a fatter payday for him. That's a tremendous fight. So either way, he comes up winning, whether he seasons himself and fights and defends his title domestically in Australia one more time, comes to the U.S. and fights somebody like Castano, a former world champion. It's all good. He's in good shape. He is in good shape.
Oh, man. God,
Let's move in. Let's move on. Because we started the show.
Let's move on, man. I don't want nobody starting to get emotional now.
Let's move on. There's only one fight this weekend that I want to see. And that's Top Rank's Giovanni Santillan representing San Diego. Drew, guy had a brilliant career, brilliant start on Thompson Boxing, a guy that emerged out of Thompson Boxing, one of my favorite California smaller regional promoters. They just recently got bought out. They're back on the air. They're going to be on with a new promotional company called CBN Promotions, I believe. But Giovanni Santillan is a club fighter, man, that comes, he trains with Robert Garcia and whatnot. I believe Robert Garcia. And he's fighting Alexis Rocha, Drew. We talked about this fight. Listen, Giovanni Santillan is a solid B fighter that should not be undefeated. He's almost 30 years old, or is on the cusp of being 30 years old. He's had some hard fights. In his last fight, they really banked on him making a huge impression, and he barely squeaked out that win. It was not a good look against a relatively unknown fighter, Drew. But now he's going to get a chance to fight Golden Boy's best. This is good cross promotions. I like this fight. I really like this fight. These are some top Mexican-American 147-pound contenders that are going to be fighting this weekend. And one of them is going to emerge to be a name to potentially be talked about, fighting maybe even, Terrence Bud Crawford. He is the undisputed welterweight champion. Alexis Rocha, what is his only sole loss? Does he have a loss?
Rashidi Ellis.
All right. So we talk triangle theories, and Rashidi Ellis lost to who recently?
Villa, what the fuck?
The Venezuelan fighter, right?
Yeah, the Venezuelan guy.
Damn, okay.
And he had the fight won. Too.
That being said, I find it hard to believe that Giovanni Santillan is on the same level professionally as Alexis Rocha. And as much as I like Giovanni Santillan, I find it very hard. I think he's actually potentially could get knocked out this weekend, and I really like the guy.
But you know what? I thought Rashidi got robbed in that fight, too. I kind of thought he got robbed. I had Rashidi Ellis winning by a point in that fight, just to be honest. But this, Dave, I don't know. This is a really hard fight to pick, in my opinion. I think Giovanni can win this fight. I really think he has a shot at beating Alexis Rocha.
If the Alexis Rocha that lost to Rashidi Ellis shows up, you think he's going to pull this one off? That would be nice for the San Diego guy.
If that one shows up, he beats him. But I really think if you look at it, since that fight, I think Alexis has been more of, I'm getting him out of there when I have to.
He definitely has a heavier hands.
Yeah. He has that mentality. I got to get him out of there because I don't want this going to the cards and everything. But it's a 50-50. I think it's a 55-45 fight, Alexis Rocha. Now, if anybody's going to anybody want to put a little bit of money down on Giovanni, go ahead if you feel like it. But I don't know. I think Giovanni,
Santillan. You got the Italian name, but he's Mexican-American. Giovanni Santillan.
I would pick Alexis Rocha to win this fight, but I don't think he's gonna knock him out. I think it's gonna be a competitive decision.
But listen, I'm excited. Oscar De La Hoya is working with Top Rank, with Bob Arum. That shows a sign that we could potentially see more in the works of this cross promotion. It is a very good fight to watch this weekend, guys. I'm excited about it. Shout out to my homegirl, Michelle Monroe. Michelle, I went through my camera. I saw Michelle this weekend at that event in Las Vegas, and I got a lot of good footage, and I just started to edit it down, so I can't wait to share that with you, and shout out to everybody I saw. Make sure you go and support my homegirl, Michelle Monroe. They got a movie premiere, Drew. My friend's got a movie premiere in downtown Las Vegas tomorrow. I'm excited about that. Fight Doctor says, shout out to Old Fishnets. Yeah, shout out to Old Fishnets for making big things happen. Now it's time to wrap up the show. It's 9 o'clock. I got a doctor's appointment in the morning. I got to hit the treadmill. Your boy Dave's been getting fat eating all this good food in Las Vegas. Speaking of video footage, Drew, I said I was shot video all day Saturday. Man, I got heavy, bro. I got heavy. I got heavy in Las Vegas. I said I wasn't going to take advantage of all the good food in Las Vegas and let myself get sloppy like that, man. But I got to get in shape, man.
Hey, Dave, I got to get in shape too, man. I've been working out more. I got the form going back. I was looking in the mirror. I was looking in the mirror the other day, man. I was like, damn, I'm looking a lot better, man. and everything, man. You know, looking a lot better now, and I'm like, damn, doing good and everything. But man, end of the day, man, we all go to sleep at times, man, and everything. Just get back on the treadmill, man, and play that Hulkamania song. I'm a real American. What the fuck that song's called? But you know, end of the day, man, I look at this. This is actually a good episode and everything. And you know how it is, man. You got certain people gonna get like a little pissed off and everything because they don't give a flying fuck half the time what the fuck they're saying. But
if you like Drew's rhetoric, make sure you support our boy who's trying to get some new equipment to upgrade the show. You can send him a cash app if you feel so
it's my
generous.
birthday today, and
This
I'm
is
not gonna
his birthday week.
Not gonna let nobody fuck my night, rest of my night and everything. Be honest with you, and like Phillies won and everything.
Then you're straight. You good.
I think I got under somebody's skin tonight. I can say I got under a few people's skins tonight and everything, which is always a plus and everything. So end of the day, man. Oh man, what can I say? Because I'm trying not to get this flagged and everything.
Now, at the end of the day, it was a good episode of the Shoe Shine. Dollar Drew Evo 85. Make sure you guys stay tuned for this week on Wednesday. I think I feel a little bit better, so I think we're going to get back to our football show football picks this week. NFL Week 7, right? We'll catch you guys this Wednesday.
We can talk about how overrated Josh Allen is, too.
That's right. Oh, yeah, Drew's got a lot to say. So make sure you guys catch that Wednesday football picks right here on the Shoe Shine Boxing channel. We will see you guys then Wednesday, and we'll see you guys next Monday. Peace out, everybody. Have a blessed night.
Don't get emotional, guys.